Professional salespeople must master the art of conversation. Good conversation helps us build rapport, make a friend, and clarify the customer's wants and needs. Listening is the key to productive conversation. Listening is the key to productive conversation. The customer will tell you exactly what you must do to sell them a vehicle as long as you listen to what they're telling you. Period. Now, again, we got a little problem here because most of them don't like you. And most of them don't trust you because most of them don't know you. And remember, LLBB, they got to like you before they'll listen to you. That's why that greeting, professional greeting, is so important. When I first got out of high school, I went to Riverton High School. When I first got out of high school, I married my high school sweetheart. I've been married 27 years, and I couldn't find a job when we got out of high school, so I went to work for a company called Midwestern Window. I was 18 years old, wet behind the ears, or 19 years old, and we sold thermal replacement windows and vinyl siding door to door. Basically, they had a phone room, and they would send you to towns, and you'd sell by appointment. And in the first step of their sales process was called the warm-up. Now, what the warm-up set did, you'd walk up to the porch and you'd shake their hand and say, "Hey, I'm Jim Adams from Midwestern, and I had a 10 o'clock appointment," and they'd say, "Come on in," and you'd walk in, and for 45 minutes, you could talk about anything in the world you wanted to talk about except the company you worked for and why you were there. 45 minutes. You could talk about their dog, you could talk about their house, you could talk about your house, your kids, their kids, anything in the world you wanted to talk about. Rapport building questions for 45 minutes, except who you worked for and why you were there. That's a long time. But let me tell you why they did that. First of all, people are way more patient in their comfort zone. 45 minutes is a long time. But they understood LLBB. They've got to like you before they'll listen to you. I've got bad news for you guys. You don't have 45 minutes here. That stands in contradiction to the speed of doing business means do it right, ... now. But you have to build rapport, okay? And when we build rapport, we use a series of open-ended questions. And open-ended questions are questions that you don't know the answer to, but a customer can answer any way they like. Like, where are you from? What do you do for a living? How many kids do you have? What are they involved in? Where did you graduate? Do you know so-and-so? They're like 8th grade party questions. Just imagine yourself standing on a wall of 8th grade boys, and across the way is a wall of 8th grade girls, and when you finally get up the nerve to walk over there, the questions you would ask her. So how long you went to school here, and what's your favorite color, and those open-ended questions. The other type of question that we're going to go into detail is called an alternative choice or either-or questions. These questions are questions that help crystallize the buyer's wants and needs, because believe it or not, they have no idea what they're looking for when they get here. Believe it or not. So an example of an alternative choice question is, who's the lucky one? Who's going to be driving the new car, you or your husband? Are you looking for basic transportation just to get around town, or you want something a little nicer? Now, how many people do you carry with you, and are you looking for something that's super, super sporty or something more standard? Those either-or type of questions. Those questions are designed to build rapport and make a friend. Okay? The open-end questions, the alternative choice questions, are designed to crystallize the buyer's wants and needs, to help them. I had a buddy named Tim Oster a long time ago that I'd sold vans to for years and years, all the time that his kids were growing up and through high school, and both his daughters were off in college one day, and he called me when I was running a store for Roper and said, "Hey, it's 7:30 in the morning." He says, "My daughter's in college in South Dakota, and my van just blew its engine." "Gosh, Tim, how many miles are on? 150,000. Well, it's time to get in here. So he said, we're going this afternoon, we gotta buy something quick. Dang it. So he shows up at my office at 8:15. I show him every van on the lot. We drive to the main used car lot, show him every van there. Go down to a lot on North Main Street that we had called Roper's Bargain Bar North at the time. And as I'm walking out to the van, his wife Cindy says, ooh, look at this Prelude. Yeah, it's pretty, Cindy. Ooh, let's keep moving on. Remember, you guys are in a hurry. Tim, can I drive this while we're here? I'm rolling my eyes. Let me get the keys. So when they get back, they're like, what would the payments be on this one? And it dawned on me. I never asked. He called and said, my van broke down. The girls are in college and we got to get something. So I just assumed we were looking at vans. I never said, so now that the girls are off in college, are we looking for another van or we want basic transportation? You know, what are we looking for? An hour later, they left in a Honda Prelude, a 2-seater Honda Prelude, because their situation had changed.
Yeah.
But I was very fortunate that I got the first call. Before, instead of them going around saying, no, I didn't like any of your vans, but thanks, Jim. We're going to go down the street and buy from somebody that will investigate our wants and needs before we try to sell them something first, like I did. Closed-ended questions. So you have open-ended questions. Those are the questions that we use to build rapport, make a friend. Alternative choice questions are those either-or questions. Basic transportation, something a little nicer. Are you looking for a 2-door or 4-door? Did you want a 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder? You want a 2-wheel drive or a 4-wheel drive? Were you looking for a big truck or a little truck? Are you looking for light colors or dark colors? And insert your either-or here, right? Trust me, we're going to do some homework on that. I know I rattled through that very fast, but I'm going to let you guys do some homework. Closed-ended questions are any of those questions that end with a response that is yes. Boy, sure has rained a lot today, hasn't it? Right, that type of question. Couldn't you sometimes put those questions at the beginning of a sentence?
Yep.
Sometimes wouldn't it make sense to put them in the middle?
Yes.
You can get people to say yes as many times as you want to, can't you? The more times they say yes, the better shot you have closing the deal. Wouldn't you agree? I can get you to say yes as many times as I want to, can't I?
Sure.
Wouldn't it make more sense sometimes to put them in the front of the sentence, and sometimes it wouldn't make just as much sense to put them in the middle sentence? You're not even noticing you're doing it now, are you? Those are yes questions. When do we use those yes questions? Statistics tell us. By the way, we've used a lot of statistics here today. Wouldn't you agree?
Yes.
I'm still got you saying yes, don't I? I can get you to do it all day. Try it on your kids or your family at home. It sure is. Would be fun, wouldn't it? I can get you to say yes all day, can't I? I'm going to give you another statistic before I say that. I'm going to say I had somebody sent me an email the other day. He said, did you realize that 82.7% of all statistics are made up? And I went, really? Oh, shit. Probably, including that one. That one's made up too. If you can get a customer to say yes 45 times in 45 minutes, you can increase your closing ratio by 75%. Now let me explain to you what that means. That means if the average closing ratio is 20%, and we can get the customer to say yes 45 times, that's one time a minute, by the way. That's not like rifling those yes questions like we were just doing just now. But getting them saying yes to things, that we can take a 20% closing ratio and turn it into a 35% closing ratio. A 75% increase. Not a 75% closing ratio, I'm talking about increase from 20 to 35. But those yes questions have to be placed very strategically, like in a walk around. But you want to get the customer comfortable in saying yes. So let's start over and let's talk about these open-ended questions. What type of questions do we want, open-ended questions do we want our customer to ask our customer? To build rapport and make a friend. Where are you folks from? Yeah?
Okay.
What else? What do you do for a living?
Do you have a family?
Right. Where do your kids go to school? What activities are they involved in? They say they're from Carthage. Oh, do you know so and so? Those are the types of questions that you have to ask, open-ended questions. I want to be very, very clear. There are some questions that you don't ask. And those open-ended questions are any question related to money or color. Here's why. Because they don't like you, they don't know you, they don't trust you. And the whole idea of open-ended questions is to build rapport, make a friend. It's not to ask open-ended car questions. How many of you, 3 of us, 4 of us maybe, how do you remember the O.J. Simpson trial? No, I've never seen in a million years how somebody can be so guilty and get off. You know, it was amazing that when the blood evidence proved that it could have been him and almost nobody else, they proved that there was that 1 in a million chance that it could have been some other guy built like him with the same blood type and the same DNA strand, like some long, you know, at any rate. The basic rule for prosecutors is to never ask a question that you don't already know or don't want the answer to. And in car sales, it's exactly the same thing. What do you owe on your car? What is your trade worth? What do you owe on it? How's your credit? What color are you? I don't want to know that yet. Okay? I don't want to invite any question that's going to make the customer paint themselves into a box and then not buy from us because they don't want to make themselves out to be a liar. Right? Because once they tell you something, it's going to be very, very difficult for them to backtrack. In the O.J. Simpson case, Marcia Clark and Chris Darden were the prosecutors, and they had this great idea. Let's make O.J. put those gloves on so the jury can see him for the killer that he was. But Robert Shapiro and Johnny Cochran knew something that they didn't know. What did they know? Anybody remember? They knew that the gloves wouldn't fit him. They know that if you take a pair of leather gloves and soak them in blood for a couple days and then dry them out, they're going to do what? Shrink. So, what they did was they argued for a little bit. They go, okay, fine, let him put the gloves on. And for those of us who's old enough to remember, we got to see this. The famous line of that case was what? If the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. Right? Because they broke the #1 rule for a prosecutor. Never ask a question that you don't know the answer to. So if I'm out there talking to my customer in the first 30 seconds, hey, welcome to Frankfurt Toyota, I'm Jim, and you are Bobby. Nice to meet you, Bobby. What are you looking for today? Oh, you know, we're kind of looking at those cameras you were like that. Are y'all from here in town? Oh, yeah, we live over in Carthage. Oh, really? Do you know so-and-so? I got some friends live. Oh, yeah, we know their kids go to our kids' school. What school do your kids go to school in? By the way, what do you owe on your car? What kind of payment you looking for? Oh, we don't want to go over a couple $100s a month, so we spend our whole day chasing a rabbit. Do you think if you ask somebody a question, what kind of payment they're looking for in the first 2 minutes, you're going to get? You know, it's funny that you asked that, Jim, because we sat down and did our budget last night, and we're pretty confident $468.63 is the max. Do you think that's ever going to be the response? No. The truth of the matter is, your customer doesn't know what kind of payment that they'll live with until they begin negotiating. They might come into the dealership thinking, if we can get something around $300 a month, we're going to buy a new car today, and they might walk out of here at $415 a month and feel like they got the best value in the world because they're paying for something that they really want. Right? So why invite questions in the get-go that you don't want to know the answers to? The only time that we talk about color of a vehicle in professional investigation is as an either-or question. Because believe it or not, I don't know if you knew this, but there are only two colors of cars in existence, light ones and dark ones. So the only question that my customer's ever going to get to answer about color is, were you looking for a light color or dark color? If you ask, what color are you looking for? It's that one in the back of the book that nobody's ever ordered ever. And you're never ever going to be able to get it. All right? Any questions about open-ended questions and why they're important? Why is an open-ended question important? And make a friend. Why is an alternative choice question important? Establish wants and needs. Crystallize the buyer's wants and needs. Are you looking for basic transportation, something a little nicer than that? Are you looking for a two-door or four-door? Is this something you're going to be driving around town a lot, or do you go out on the road a lot? I'm sure gas mileage is going to be important to you, huh? And then you get your yes. How many of you have ever, how many times could you ask that question and the customer say no? I'm sure fuel economy is going to be real important to you, huh? You ever had a customer go, or think a customer would go, nope, not important to us. We got money running out of the bunghole. We got no problem. There are questions you can ask that you know you're going to get a yes. Like the weather. Boy, it sure has rained a lot, hasn't it? Or gosh, it's a pretty day. Whoo, it's been hot today, hasn't it? You're going to get those yeses. And if you can get yeses to the little stuff now, we call those minor commitments. It's going to be way easier to get yeses to the big stuff later. Any questions about that? Remember, you are the professional salesperson. There are 3 C's down there: command, control, and commit. Do you see those? When a customer comes onto the lot, their obligation is complete. Okay? They don't know the process. They don't know. They know, I'm here to buy a car. That's where my expertise leaves. And even if it's a customer that has bought and sold 20 cars in their lifetime, which is a number, we sold 24 last Saturday. Okay? We have more experience at selling than they do buying, if that makes any sense. So we have to put them, because if you don't know what you're doing and the customer doesn't know what they're doing, it's a friggin' nightmare to get a car bought and sold. It's like 2 kids fumbling around the back seat for the first time. My son, my 10-year-old son is very, very shy. Believe that, very shy, and we have a hard time getting to speak to people when he gets spoke to. So somebody will walk up and say, "Hey, Justice, how are you?" And he'll go, What are we doing here? Just say hi, because he just doesn't know how to act. So we got to make sure that we are commanding, controlling, and committing the conversation, but always give the customer an assurance and give them an out. Okay? I love saying somewhere in the first 2 minutes, "Hey, you don't have to buy a car today, do you?" What happens to your customer's blood pressure when you say that?
Yeah.
No, gosh, no, we don't have to buy today. And they're going, nobody's ever said that to me before. Usually it's the opposite of that. But if you give the customer an assurance and give them an out, like, "Hey, I'm confident we'll find you a car here. If we don't find what you're looking for, I wouldn't expect you to buy a car today." When you give customers assurances and outs like that, they'll stay longer. And I'm going to go back 2 pages and remind you, time spent with the customer obligates the buyer to the salesperson, right? So as long as they don't feel pressure, they're going to stay longer. The longer they stay, the more committed they are, right?
Yeah.
Everybody understand that? And again, I'm going to remind you those closed-ended questions. Those closed-ended questions: isn't it, wouldn't it, doesn't it, won't it, don't it, and yeah, sure is pretty color blue, huh? Yeah, right? Command, control, and the commit. Command, control, and commit means moving the customer through the process. Come here, I want to show you something. Okay. Most folks don't require to have a reason why they do something. But if you're in charge of the conversation, just like you, does anybody know why we're standing here with our palm up? Why?
Told us to.
Right. Period. For no other reason. Now, Simon says scratch my ear.